Hi everyone. In this session, I'm going to take you through Pega GenAI Blueprint. It is a whiteboarding session where I'm going to set the context of the business use case. It is more like an example we take, but you can apply to any of such use cases in any of your business domains where you would like to solve some business problems with Pega. Even if you have questions like what is Pega and what is Pega GenAI Blueprint, or the basic questions, or you want to know the significance of it, or if you're not yet convinced with the idea of the Pega GenAI Blueprint, or you would like to hear more thoughts from an experienced architects, then I think this session might help you. Yeah, feel free to go through, and if you have any questions, you can post on this session. Okay. And without any further delay, I would like to take you through this, jumping straight into the business domain and the use case. There will be a slight lag because I might be writing and explaining at the same time. Please bear with me on that. So coming to this Pega GenAI Blueprint, right? What exactly it does, right? So as the name suggests, Pega has come up with an idea of blueprinting something much before you go and start implementing that into Pega. That means there is something which Pega has launched recently where you can go. It's like a clean slate approach. Like you go and you just have to describe what you need to build an application in Pega, and then Pega builds everything for you. At least it gives you a jump start or a great kick start so that you don't have to have a big team to initiate things. Okay, but earlier it has to be like a team sitting and then doing a discovery and then doing the development to reach to a fine state from where the team can start on. But it's like now things can start at a different point altogether when it comes to the sales and delivery in Pega. Okay, so to give a better context to this, what I would like to do is I will take an example from one of my favorite business domains, that is supply chain management. Okay, as I told you, I'll go very slowly, so you might have to bear with me on this. So supply chain management. Okay, if you take this business domain, within this, like there are so many, I mean, it's a vast business domain, but what I'm going to pick for this session is a very simple one where most of you should be able to follow, I believe, but let's see. Okay, so it is about if you take any supply chain management, mostly it deals with some of the products. Okay, and if you talk about the products, probably as part of the FMCG or the supply chain management, they might introduce some of the products or they might delist some of the products, which means they need to introduce some of their products into the market, and sometimes they have to delist some of their products from the market. Okay, so this is a simple, it's like into the market, and this is most like delist from the market. Okay, and all of this, usually the products, how they get introduced into the market or how they get delisted from the market, this goes through a typical process, and that process involves some moving, capturing the details of the products, or then moving through some financials, someone else is approving it, and finally some integrations, and then it's more like a process. It sounds like a process or a workflow, right? Just to start, like the vague understanding what we have, even whatever I'm saying now, this is from my understanding working with supply chain management for some of the customers, some of the FMCG customers. It need not to be like specific to any customer, so it can be as generic as possible. Think of any products which you're buying from your supermarket, and how those products get manufactured at a warehouse, and then finally, how it gets introduced, not at the warehouse actually, but if you think of a product, how it gets introduced in the market itself. Let's think of a soap or a shampoo or an ice cream or anything. That's take that as an example of the product. If someone has to take a conscious decision to introduce a new product into the market, right, then it has to go through some product life cycle. So let me call this as product life cycle. So imagine you are one of the easiest way of understanding this is, imagine you are the system architect, Pega system architect, who is getting into this application where you need to build this fresh application called product life cycle, where you have to take care of two processes importantly, that is the introduction of the products, or the delisting the products. Okay, like when I say introducing the products, you might have to launch some new product, a new ice cream into the market. Then it has to go through a life cycle. When I say life cycle, then it might have to capture some details, go through some approvals, and then integrate with other systems, and finally the job done. That's how the workflow happens typically, right? Some point A to point B to point C, but it all happens for a reason where all this case management should be happening. So if you're new to Pega and if you don't know what is exactly case management, it's not a jargon. It's more like you think of anything, just like the example I started. Suppose you start with a product and you're talking about, or you're capturing all the product details, and then someone else is reviewing those, and then finally someone else is approving it, or finally what we say is, okay, the job done. Whatever steps happen in capturing the details, and in someone else reviewing the details, and someone else approving the details, and finally resolving, right? There will be so many people who will be involved at multiple steps. We call them personas. Okay, now you're getting used to the terminology which is needed for this session as well. So I'm going to jot down here. I know it might be boring for some of them who knows this basics, but just for the people who wants to get onboarded. So the main pillars, what we call like, okay, these are the stages what we have in so and so process. So within the product life cycle, suppose if I'm talking about one of the process, which is called introduction, where I'm introducing a new product, then so this is my application, which is product lifecycle, and this within this application I have a process called introduction, which we usually call it as case type in Pega. So this terminology is needed when I take you to the playground, that is our GenAI blueprint. So that's the main reason I'm setting this context for you. So we have an application, the first thing, and then we have the case type. It could be introduction, or the case type can be delist, or it can be anything else. And then finally, what are the stages? And finally, what are the steps? Like these are the steps. And finally, what are the personas? Right? So now we have heard a lot of terms. Okay, let me write it down. So the first thing what we are saying is, okay, there is something called application which we need to create in Pega. Of course, with Blueprint it will create all of that for you, but for you to appreciate the fact that everything is created in the background, I want you to understand these are all the building blocks, or what Blueprint will be generating it already for you. So there is something called application, and within the application your processes, right? So we have the case type for, in this case, the introduction, and introduction of the new products, or delisting is another case type you can say. And this is our Pega application, which we said, okay, this is our product life cycle. I'll just mention that here, product life cycle. And within the case type you saw that there are the stages, like where you capture, review, approve. It's not like in this manner, but it's easy for many people to understand this way. That's why we say that, oh, you capture the details, review the details, someone else is coming to approve the details. But those stages can be anything. It is like, depends on your process, depends on your so the business experts knows this better, the SMEs. I'll say like now our blueprint will act as an SME, the subject matter expert. Imagine you maybe don't know much about this product life cycle. You are a very junior Pega system architect who is just landing into this application development, and then you want to understand the business context about this, right? Even then, that is where the Pega GenAI Blueprint will help you. Okay, I know I'm talking more about it, but we will see that in action in some time. And within stages, you saw that within each stage you will have several steps, and I'll call them as steps. And then finally we have personas. Those are the people who are going to work on the steps. Someone has to work on the steps, right? Of course, some of the steps can be automated, but some of the steps where approver has to see the screen and approve it. Then you might have a question, hey, how exactly the Pega screen may look like if you're new to Pega, or how exactly the approver may approve or reject, or how can they see the data on the screen? I know I have done this process. Maybe you are familiar with some supply chain management. You are a business person and stakeholder, and you know how things work, how you exchange on the emails, but or maybe you have seen this in other technology, but not exactly in Pega. How would that look like? So everyone would be so keen to understand how the preview would look like, right? Much before creating the application, they would like to visualize, okay, yeah, this is how my application looks like, right? That is exactly what your GenAI blueprint will deliver. I'm trying to give you some chunks, the meaningful chunks which Pega GenAI blueprint is giving for you. And I feel that is the powerful accelerator. It gives you a great mileage if you're getting onboarded onto Pega for the first time, or even if you're an existing customer and planning to leverage this for the future. But that is a wide or a broad topic which we are not going to cover. Like for an existing application, how I can make use of this blueprint. Of course, it is obvious and implicit, but just for the sake of beginners or who wants to get onboarded, I want to keep this session very less complex in nature. That way, many of you can follow, right? That's the intent of this. Anyway, so the preview part, that means you can easily visualize how your processes or how your people in the company or business stakeholders will look at the information or submit the information or capture the information, and someone else approve things or reject things with some comments. Everything, all of that can be captured on Pega, right? So on the system, basically, that's how the case management comes up. So it's more like why we call this as case management. You see, if you talk about an application, we're talking about the case types, and we are saying, okay, these are the stages and these are the steps and these are the personas. Whatever they do in the system, everything is captured in the system in the form of data, and that gives a 360-degree overview of the case at any given point in time for the users. That's a beauty. Like, you can manage the total life cycle of the case. In this case, it can be any process. It can be introduction of the product or delisting of the product, for the example what we have taken. And with that, with my little information that I have on SCM, supply chain management, this is what I carry in my mind when I go to design some application. Think of it that way. If you are a similar Pega system architect and you got into this space in SCM customer and they ask you to build an application, ideally you need to Google to understand what does SCM do and what does the business do and what exactly they are good at, what they might ask us to automate in Pega. These are all the questions usually that comes to your mind. For that, what I'm going to say is, now with this Pega GenAI blueprint, it gives you a starting point where you can skip all that analysis, going through multiple places. Already you can go to this area, Pega GenAI blueprint, and give your prompts properly, like input the details that are needed for you. The better the prompt is and the better the outcome will be, which we will see now. So how can we create a Pega GenAI blueprint with this context for this example? Okay, so on that note, let's go to a browser. Okay, so I'm going to type in Pega blueprint. Yeah, and if you Google for it, like I'm doing now, you will see this Pega GenAI blueprint. Okay, let me go to this. It's taking me to the blueprint. Yeah, now I'm here. So yeah, here it's saying build a blueprint. Why not? Let's go ahead and do that. Right now I'm using my iPad to do this. So why I'm saying that is I'm not even using my system. So I'm just sitting on my couch, just trying out something new. And then I'm here creating a new blueprint with all of you. Just before this demo, I have created one product lifecycle just to see how that looks like. Let me create one more. Okay, so all you have to do is create a blueprint, which you see on the screen, and it nicely asks you for the business domain for which industry you are going to create a Pega GenAI blueprint for. I'm going to select transportation and logistics. That's exactly where my supply chain management will be. So I selected the industry. And moving on to the next, like I said, this is a demo which I'm showing for a sample example, but you can try your own thing. Maybe towards the end of this session, I'll summarize that part. But for those who are trying to see this for the first time, right? So select a sub industry. As you might have already guessed, I am going to select logistic and supply chain, if you have followed my example, and clicking on next. Share more about your logistics and supply chain application. Exactly. This is where our things start. Okay, what is the application purpose? So here I would like to talk about yeah, let me do this. So I'm going to select, okay, this is my product lifecycle application. You have to think through about this one. Like if you are the business who is trying to create an application, or if you're an architect, system architect or senior system architect, you will, by the time you reach here, you will have a fair idea. Okay, this is the application I'm going to create, this is the context. At least we should be knowing that. That's the main reason the first few minutes I have spent time in, getting you onboarded with the use case. Similarly, in your reality also, you might have to do a little groundwork to understand, okay, this is my use case about, this is the industry about, this is exactly what I need to do. Because if you want to ask the question, or if you want to write a prompt, then you should be knowing how to ask the question in the right way. So for that, yeah, a little work is needed, but other than that, you must be having the rest of the stuff. So application purpose is product lifecycle, and then we need to write the product description. So I'm going to write saying that to manage product lifecycle, to onboard or to introduce new products into the market, and delist the existing products from the market, after carefully reviewing the financials, volumes of the application, of the products, or product related information. Yeah, I'm framing, I'm just thinking as of now, thinking out loud, and then phrase this one. That's it. So this is my prompt that describes, just read it, just give some 1 or 2 minutes to make sure that you're capturing the meaningful functional description. So it goes and it takes the OpenAI support, and then it is going to generate a lot of stuff for you, which you will be seeing in few minutes. Okay, organization, I'm just going to say demo, just for this purpose. Then language, English, and location, it's optional, but I'm going to give because I'm hopeful that it may also take that into consideration. The prompt can generate the meaningful things according. I always see that if I need a better output, definitely we have to give a better input, right? So I'm trying to go with that motive. Okay, now I have filled in all the information and clicking on next. Now we say something is happening in the background. Hang tight, generating the blueprint of your, it's not just a sample application, it's already an enterprise grade application, what is getting generated in the background. Okay, so all the preview part I was telling, right? So if you're a new business stakeholder, if you're trying to understand what is Pega, what exactly it does, okay, and don't curse me if you're not into the same business domain, or you have a different business domain. This is only an example, but I'm sure you can follow this example very well. If me, why not anyone can follow this? Yeah. So now coming to product lifecycle, the application, right? Now what exactly Pega has generated here? If you see the steps, as part of the first steps, we have set the application context. Now as part of the second one, that is workflows, let me do some whiteboarding here. As I said, whiteboarding, right? So as part of the step one, you have done the application context, where we have given input to all of the details from what we know, and now we are exactly at a point where we are looking at the workflows. What are the workflows? So definitely I have to introduce something into the market, so that is, it's calling product launch. Oh, it's better than the name introduction, so I'm happy with that. And product delisting, yeah, I have to delist some product. Okay, and then see, this description is generated by Pega GenAI Blueprint. So product launch, manage new product introduction process from ideation to market launch, including market analysis, product design. Exactly. That's what I'm looking for. Even the regulatory approvals. Exactly. In some countries like UK and some of the places, I see that this regulatory plays a bigger role. So I'm also interested in knowing how that is done or who will be covering that aspects and reviewing and approving them. Okay. And now product delisting. Okay, let me see if it understood me correctly. Handle the process of evaluating existing products for performance, profitability, and market demand to make informed decisions on product listing. Good. Close to what I mean, maybe 70-80% match to what I wanted. Good. After that, looks like then that's it. Let's see. Till here, I'm just deleting this whiteboarding, what I have done, back to a playground. Okay, back to our actual Pega GenAI Blueprint screen. Yeah, this is where we are. It also created a few other case types, if you have noticed. So the application name is product lifecycle, and these are the case types. So I'm not interested in recall management really. So I don't want to create everything that Pega GenAI Blueprint suggests me. So as a business stakeholder or as an architect, I'm free to delete what I don't need. So I like this. So this is exactly where we are owning it, and we are trying to customize it, not customize, configure it in a way that it matches to our needs. Product end of life, really, I don't want this one as well. Okay, the end of life process. I mean, it's good that it is generating, but as of now for this demo, I don't need it. So I'm deleting that. And product enhancement, no, even I don't want to get into that, maybe at a later point in time. But for now, very simple: product launch and product delisting. If I have to do more, then I can still go with ask the prompt, to generate more. But as of now, I'm satisfied with this. You might have already got that from the way I'm sounding now. And so clicking on next, it takes me to the workflow details. What exactly? Okay, now it generated two case types for me. One is product launch, another one is product delisting, as you see on the screen. So in this drop down, you can see two details. One is product listing, other one is product delisting. Now, sorry, product launch and product delisting. Now coming to product launch, what exactly is there in this case type? By default, the first one is selected, right? What is the case life cycle? So what is the product launch case life cycle? You see, let us see, because these stages, see, our main idea is some of us, probably when you are reaching to GenAI Blueprint, some of you as a Pega system architects, you might be interested in knowing what exactly will be covered as part of this process. Earlier, this could be black box for many people, but now you will get an idea, at least as per the industry. Maybe this might or might not match with your customer's need exactly, but you have some base for it. You don't have to at least Google and go through lots of articles, churn out a lot of information to get to this point. That is the main crux of this. So let me go through. I have some idea about this process. I have worked with a couple of customers in this space. Let me give you my inputs from the expertise I carry. Okay, product launch. So before I jump in, let us do some whiteboarding. Okay, for that I'm just capturing this, and then you see. Okay, let me choose something else so that I can clearly explain. Just one moment, you have to bear with me. Yeah, again. Now, product launch. Gather product information. Of course, if I have to launch something into the market, I need to gather the product information. That's right. Evaluate market potential. Yeah, meaningful. Design product prototype. Okay, good. Then perform product testing. Yes, that happens. Get regulatory approvals. What is exactly happening behind the scenes, we don't know. But at least I know that, okay, I have a stage called product launch. This is my stage 1, and this is my stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5. And then within the stage 1, you have the steps, right? So within stage 1, it is going to complete all of these steps or some of those steps, and then go to the next stage. That's how typically a case management works. In a happy path, it moves from stage 1 to stage 2 like that, but in some cases it can also jump between the stages. But that's fine. That's all pretty much basic. We're not going there now. Okay, we have seen it generated the stages, at least the stage one. All the steps make sense to me. I can also go through all the other stages and steps, but it will waste all of our time. At a high level, I have gone through, and I have seen some of the steps are not really necessary for me. Okay, imagine I am sitting with my customer. I have showed this to my business, and business said, "Hey, things are okay, but it's not like we do the start production directly in the design and test phase. Okay, maybe they want to start production at a later point in time. Okay, maybe like after the decision that comes out, like maybe regulatory launch, if they want to move, they start production to somewhere else, or maybe they don't want it now, they want to take a decision at a later point in time where exactly they want to start production. Okay, and the little bit of a placement here and there, if you want to take this step out here, and maybe it comes just before to launching the strategy planning after regulatory approval decisions, that is exactly where I start the production. Okay, this is what the input I have received from business, let's say. In a similar way, you might receive so many different variations, because it's like I said, it is only the industry standard. It doesn't mean that it will match 100% with your customer needs, but at least it will have some. I can already see it is matching, like 60 to 70% of what I'm expecting, what I was expecting here before reaching to this. Okay, now on that note, let me go back to our actual context. Yes, so we reviewed what is part of product launch, and now we go to product delisting. And in the same way, okay, here we have the case life cycle, and then we see all the stages and steps. Okay, good. And within the stages, okay, let me see if they make any sense to me. Yes, so to delist a product, it is going through data collection, yes, performance analysis, delisting decision, execution, and finally closure. Okay, something similar to what I have envisioned, but I was envisioning it as, 4 stages or 3 stages. If you want to edit anything as per your business need, all you have to come here is, okay, select the stage. We can add a new step or delete some of the steps. Example, I don't have a need for competitor analysis. I just delete that step. Okay, that was too quick, but if you haven't noticed, just check that there were 4 steps initially, but now I have removed one of the steps because my business don't need that. In the same way, we spoke about another example in product launch about deleting one step, right? Let's do that as well. Product launch, design and test phase itself, we don't want to start the production. So sorry, I was clicking on that. You need to click edit life cycle and then go to design and test phase and start production. So this one we don't want it here, so I'm going to delete it. Let's see how we can add that in the launch. So at this moment, launch strategy, after the regulatory approvals decision, once it is approved, then I'm adding a step. Okay, when you see if you're adding a step, then it is going to give an additional thing. So I'm going to move the reposition towards here. Okay, I'm trying to reposition, actually it's a let me do that again. I see I'm struggling, but it should be easy enough. Yeah, so I just moved it before the launch strategy planning. I am trying to add one step, which is actually the start production. Okay, how this happens, what type it is, all of that, even we can change that also. Okay, that's it. And if I have to capture any notes, no, nothing for now. And I just want this to be an automation because it was that. Yes, that's it. So regulatory launch, we have reposition and we have saved everything. So this is a nice view, isn't it? A nested view of stages and steps once I save this. Now let's go back and see our case life cycle here. Yes, it's there, and we see that start production is moved now to regulatory and launch. Perfect. So this is matching to my business needs now. I've had to, maybe you might have to spend some time here, a couple of sessions with your customers to understand what is matching, what is not matching, repositioning things or some of the edits to make sure. Of course, earlier it's better, right? So much before we are taking this to Pega, the actual system, we are doing all of this. That's why I call this as a playground. Sorry, it's my own terminology. to make people understand. So this is where we are playing around with things so that business can, still think about it. You can take a couple of days or some time to arrive at a decent life cycle to start with. And of course, it can be changed in the future iterations, but idea is to get started with an enterprise grade application in the first go itself. Okay, so without any further delay, let's also look at the case data model. If you see product launch, I'm expecting some of the start date. Yes, I see like product design start date, testing start date. I'm also expecting to see production forecast dates, which are missing here. So if I have to add, I can also add those fields. Let me add only one field which says production forecast date, which is currently missing, but I know that this is needed for me to capture as per my, like I said, from based on my previous experience. And like I said, I'm using a different channel, but if you're doing it on your system, it might look in a different way. I'm capturing that as date, and description I will say to capture production forecast date. Okay, that's it. And user input, exactly, and it's not calculated in this case. That's and it's a primary field, so I'm going to choose that. Good, and I'm saving it. So we have added one additional field. Excellent. And that's all, we are done. And let's move on to the next. So we are done with the case lifecycle. So if you notice, we are on the third step, workflow details. Now moving to data and integrations. Yeah, so now we are into data and integrations. If you are, hope you're following me. What I mean is, we are just done with three steps, that is application context, setting the workflows and workflow details, right? And now we are into data and integrations. Okay, now back to the screen. Now data and integrations, yes, what exactly we need: product lifecycle stage, okay, product introduction plan, delisting criteria. Not actually what I need from here. Product performance metrics I do not want, so I'm deleting that. And same way, you can also review the data objects which are created, but for this example I'm doing the job for you so that you know how you do it when you're doing. Introduction plan, yes, I need it. New development process, really I don't need a data object to store that here, so delete it. But rest of the things look good to me. Maybe the namings are slightly different. I can still go and check that, but as of now I'm proceeding with this, okay, for the simplicity. And systems of record, yes, all these data types I'm planning to store them in data objects. Sorry, they're planning to store them in Pega itself. And now moving on to the next one, that is personas. And the personas wise, let us see, this is an important part, right? If you're going to new business, new project, you always think, oh, who are the end users or who are the personas interacting with my application? If you talk about supply chain management, if you have never worked on it, you will never know. So you have to Google it and you have to find the information, or you have to wait for the KTs for someone to help you understand, hey, these are the people who work on the application. This is where I really like having a matrix, seeing something, any new project I get into, I ask for the security matrix or the personas or capability matrix to understand that landscape. But here I see this is very good, like, GenAI Blueprint will suggest, but let's take a look at it, if it's really worth it, or how things are. Okay, product manager, okay, supply chain coordinator, okay, I would have called supply chain manager in the space I have worked. Financial analyst, yeah, that totally makes sense. Market researcher, excellent. Customer service representative, it can be, but I don't want this one. What is missing is I also have something called business opportunity manager in my space. I was expecting to see that one as well, since it is missing. In the same way, if you see that, oh, your stakeholders need something and it's not there here, you have to add that. Okay, so business opportunity manager. Okay, persona description, who makes important decisions, who makes crucial decisions with respect to approvals. Okay, with respect to approvals. Okay, that's it, and save. Perfect. Okay, my persona business opportunity manager is also added. Excellent. The last one is summary. Okay, let's go there. Now I am in the summary part where I can see everything like whatever we have generated. Okay, I hope you got that. So in the stages we see that we reach to the last part, which is the summary, and that's more like, whatever we carry forwarded, all the information we get to see in the summary screen in a read-only mode. Okay, if you want to edit still you can edit it, but let us take a look. Okay, I see the application context, whatever I have selected. Yes, it's an application name as product lifecycle. When you're looking at this screen, just take a look at just to make the pointer, I'm going to show you the application purpose. Yes, that is a product lifecycle, right? And now going back to the workflows. Yes, these are the case types. Product launch, perfect. Whatever changes we have done, you might have remember, right? So what is the change we have done? We have moved start production from design and test phase to after post-regulatory and launch, post-regulatory approval decisions. So that is done. Good. I'm just previewing it. Sorry, I'm just cross-checking it to before I proceed and preview. Okay, all the data model I see, perfect. Product delisting, yeah, perfect. Yeah, delisting outcomes, yeah. All the properties, perfect. Data objects and integrations, yeah, I see. Personas are bomb, yeah. Even our business opportunity manager, supply chain coordinator, everyone exists here. Good, that's it. We're almost there. If I have to download, see, what we need to do is, just before I talk about download and stuff like that, hope I won't forget that, but just let me show you a preview my app. So because I am on a different channel, I mean, if you're doing this on your system, you will also see it in a different way, right? But that's where the channel comes from. Yes, speaking of which, you see on the left hand side the mobile. So right now I'm not on mobile, but still you see I'm able to see how my experience looks like on mobile. So what you are seeing here is, let's before taking a look at the actual thing, you see here the drop down, take a look at this product launch. Right now we are previewing the product launch case type. And if you want to view it on a desktop, you choose desktop channel or the mobile or Salesforce. Like if you have already a Salesforce, and if you are thinking of, hey, how my screens or stages would look like, steps would look like if when embedded in the Salesforce, and this is how it looks like. It's a beauty, isn't it? So earlier someone had to explain like, hey, this is how things look like by giving a demo, by setting up stuff into our Pega environments, but everything is coming out of the box from the Pega GenAI Blueprint. And then suppose if imagine there is a context where someone is receiving a call center agent, and they have to launch this product. I mean, maybe this is not a valid use case for that, but you might have a use case like, okay, customer call center agent, like they received a call and they have to change the address, like change address case type, then they can launch it from here, and this is how it looks like. Okay, and web service center, suppose you have, imagine we have a website or something where customers click on it and they have to initiate some process. Again, this is not a valid use case for me because I'm launching a product. Why would I ask my end user to launch a product, right? So I'm not thinking of that. So I don't need this channel experience from web self-service. So but what I'm saying is the art of possibilities there. We can take some other examples where this will be extremely helpful. I can already think of, but not to dilute the fundamental session. Again, like, because this is more like a beginner session, I'm making it to help you radiate the knowledge around this. I'm not going deep into that, but I have a very useful use cases where I can think of where this can help customers imagine how things would look like in different channels. Okay, and conversational agent, same thing. If you're dealing with an agent on any application, then if we are talking about launching something, right? So even that I can start typing in here, and it's interactive, by the way. It's not just preview and just like that. I'm able to type in and ask some questions. Again, I can pick a relevant use case to explain this. This one, DX APIs, this one is too good, isn't it? Like the OpenAuth spec. So I see that the Swagger UI, so where all the APIs, you don't have to ask someone to create API. If you have to invoke invoke our Pega to create any new product, launch the new product, or release the product. All the APIs are already ready. They just have to pass the information. All the spec is ready. So that is like a great start. It's more like, you see, out of this, in this use case, I'm making use of desktop, mobile, and DX API system. But for the other use cases, you see what is the possibility. Even Salesforce Extender, that is a good example for this. Just that in my business use case, I don't have it right now, but you might find it very helpful when you're dealing with such use cases. That knowing that art of possibility is very important. And contact, same thing like I said, the other channels as well. I'm pretty much impressed with what I am seeing here, but let me stick to the usual one. Okay, now the thing is, what is exactly is this preview for someone who is new and you are not familiar with this, or you have not seen this before? So the preview of this, how Pega, what is Pega, how things would look like in Pega, these are the basic questions which I used to hear when I started my journey in Pega. I wish I had this few years back where I could directly show this, but at that time we had to build something on Pega application and we used to show to the customers. But now you see I can show that, oh, this is how a portal would look like from Pega application to the users. This is how you see on the left side navigation pane, you can launch the product. Like I said, I am on the iPad, so my experience is like this, but if you're on the computer screen, your experience is totally different, okay, from the web desktop. And let me show you the product launch. And before going here, if you're new to Pega, on the left hand side on this portal, what you see here, this is all the navigation pane. Let me take a screenshot to do the whiteboarding quickly. So what I mean to say is this part is our navigation menu. And okay, let me go one step back. Some people who are looking at this for the first time, you might have to know this. It's like only this portion is a Pega portal. This is the preview. Okay, and within this Pega portal, on the left side pane, what you see, we call this as a navigation, left side navigation pane. And from here, when you click on the stuff, it takes you to the navigation, and this is our main area. Okay, and of course the top one is our header. That's it. So I'm not going to deviate more than that. Okay, but now coming back to the context, yeah, if you see now, we can create a new product launch from here. I just clicked on it, then it is asking me for all the, you see a case got created, which is P6200, and that is my case. And I'm estimated launch date. I can capture all of these details and product description. Let me give, anyways, they are not mandatory. So what I'll do is, sorry, my clicks. Let me mind my clicks next time. Yeah, I'm launching a new product. Anyways, these are not mandatory, so I am just entering test description, or let me test product. I'm launching a new ice cream, let's say. Okay, vanilla ice cream AI vanilla ice cream. I'm just using GenAI. Okay, just giving some test name. That's it. This is a product description, and I will say vanilla GenAI is the product name. Okay, that's it. And create. And then you see what happens. Okay, then we need to gather the product information. Then you can click on this. If you see the assignment section, again, just for the people who are new to Pega, you will see the assignment section, the to-do work list or work items here at the task list here. And this is a task which is assigned to some persona, which is to gather product information. And they click on this go icon to proceed to the next one. Right, so at least you're getting a feel like how Pega would look like, and all the details captured. So this is a task, and these are all the details. If you see all the summary or details, or people can start putting some comments here, and they can start interacting with their team in Pega, and all the details, whatever the case is created or something got updated, all of those details will be captured in the history tab. So this is giving you a good feeling about how the case management would look like, how things are with Pega. And that's the beauty. You don't have any Pega instance. Let's say you don't know anything about Pega. You're coming to here for the first time. You're already envisioning everything. isn't it? If you want to follow this case or approve or reject, how things would look like, you're already seeing that. And if you want to edit something, you have an edit icon. And all the priority information, you see what is estimated launch date. Yeah, it is there. Perfect. I have pretty much everything. If you want to look at some other stuff, you see I clicked on home screen. On the navigation, I get to see, oh, these are my task list, and this is the pulse where people are exchanging the comments on this. And then we have the my work. Yeah, this is where I can see my work list where tasks are assigned to me. Whatever task we have created just now, that is the PL-468, it is showing me here. So it's not like some dummy preview, it is some meaningful thing. Oh, already I can see some case volume by stats. This is how it would look like, the meaningful charts. I mean, this is a possibility, and with the data, it can go ahead and show much more meaningful insights. Good. Just for, I think, not even 1 hour, right? In less than maybe half an hour, we are able to reach to this state. But of course, some homework to understand what we need is needed. Once we know what we need, because at least we should be asking the right question to the prompt, right? So that's how we have asked the question to this Pega GenAI Blueprint. And it or more than a question, we have asked it to do a task for us and to show how things would look like. So it did its job, yeah, pretty much in a decent manner. And same way, if you have to look at the product delisting, same story. You will select product delisting and you look at all of these. I hope with that you followed. Now like I promised, I need to go back from here to show you. Okay, now the preview part is done. Okay, good. We have covered that, and this is already because I logged in with my PDN account. I mean my Pega account. This blueprint is saved in my. It's still linked to my account. I can showcase this to customers, and I can readjust all of that, right? And once I'm happy with this, I can download this as a PDF. If I have to share with any stakeholders, let me download. I'm just downloading this. That's it. Yeah, so with that you can download, and if you have to download the blueprint and then you have a Pega system where you want to import this, and you can see, you can do that. In this session I'm not going to import it, but just mark my words, like, I have downloaded this, and like I said, it is also linked to my Pega account. Same blueprint, we'll use it in the next session where we will import into some Pega environment where we see how case types and everything got created in the live environment, not live, in a development environment, let's say. Okay, so whatever you have seen, the preview, that also gives you a feeling as if it's a real application. But what I'm saying is that is more like to understand, to arrive at a starting point where you can have a meaningful assets, enterprise level assets, which you can take into your environment, right? And that's exactly what we'll do in the next session. Now you have the blueprint, it created. If you see at the bottom of my screen, we have dot blueprint, and that blueprint will have all these details. If I have to share this with somebody, I can, but that's all very miscellaneous things. But the beauty is, so far, the last few minutes, we have had a discussion about a new business use case. Even if you're new, you at least understood, in supply chain management, if they have to introduce new products or delist some of the existing products, it has some meaningful process. Even though I don't know anything about it, I asked the question to Pega GenAI Blueprint. It generated the stages, steps. It understood the processes which I want, and it also matched close to the personas that I need. And even if there is some difference, it is allowing me to change, add or delete some of the personas, or add or change or reposition some of the steps across the stages in the case types. And once everything is done, it's not just that. It's not just like it generated some technical artifact for the developers to go and import it. Much before to that, we are going to take this, and you can get this vetted by a business stakeholder, or you can do this along with your business stakeholder in a meeting, and it would save a lot of time. All the discovery sessions or the pre-discovery sessions which LSAs, LBAs or PSA, PBA in Pega used to have with business stakeholders, it gets way too simplified. It helps people to do something like, imagine you're all sitting in one room and doing something, writing something on the whiteboard, so that all of you are up to speed without having any gaps on a particular subject, right? So this is how I feel about Pega GenAI Blueprint, where it brings everybody onto the same page. Again, these are my views and perspectives working with Pega GenAI Blueprint for the last year, from the time it's released. From the early stages, initially it was developing. Now I get to a feeling that it is in a very good position that I can go ahead and take this comfortably to my customers and explain this. And I would recommend others also. I mean, if you have not been onboarded to Pega GenAI Blueprint and you still think, oh, there is something lagging in it, and this is where I feel it can do better or anything like that, feel free to drop a question. Like, we can collaborate and see in the discussion in the comments, whether it is already solved or it is something new, which maybe, who knows, if even if something is missing, it might get added in the future as well. But coming back to the point, the way how it is now, I feel very much comfortable taking this to my customers and talking about it. So that's where I'm very proud of. That's the main reason. Even though there are many sessions in the web about this, by now still I want to make this session to share my perspectives, which can help some of the system architects or some of the business stakeholders who wants to get an idea of how Pega would look like, or how Pega is evolving, or all the basic questions what you may have. So now everything is there on the web. You don't have to pay anything to just explore this. So you can explore it at your own time. All you need to have is a simple Pega account, just like I was doing. Register yourself, and then even I think you can just access the Pega GenAI Blueprint page, like how I did, and it should take you there, and it should generate a meaningful PDF for you, and it also carry a meaningful blueprint file which can be imported into a system if you're interested in the further next steps. Okay, that's all about what I wanted to convey in this session. I hope it makes some sense, and it would have given you some insights on how a person at my level, with my experience, would look at this, or would perceive the evolving things with Pega GenAI Blueprint. I've received so many questions on, initially, maybe a year back or a few months back, like, what is the greatest thing that Pega has done in this one? I feel the application of, the market is evolving. We are seeing all these prompts, agent AI, agentic AI, love that stuff. It's about adaptability, like how we are able to cope up with the environment, and how we are matching to the speed at which the world is changing. Like Pega says, the build for change. I feel Pega has done really a good job, because OpenAI is open source, right? Anyone can use it, and Pega has done a quick job to, I mean, not like they have, it's like, think of the competitors I've been watching, not naming them. Some of the competitors, when I see them, I feel like they're still doing, but Pega has been much ahead of the race compared to its competitors, and without any question. And the simple thing, but it's more like giving the inputs, and it's giving the whole thing. I mean, technically speaking, I can imagine how, but the application side of it, okay, how meaningful it is, and how much value it is adding to the business, or even to the people who are already working in Pega. All the business, any stakeholder you take who is working within the Pega space as of now, or even they're trying to get onboarded onto Pega, this is a meaningful thing that Pega could have done. And the main complementary aspect of this is the blueprint, and having the constellation and the blueprint. They both, I mean, having both of them, I feel it's good. I'm very happy that I'm part of such a phase where I'm seeing these kind of improvements, which are all happening at a lightning speed. Okay, on that note, I would like to conclude my session. Hope you have gained some insights out of this. Either ways, just feel free to add a comment. Thank you.